cars that just showed up here. 1969 Dodge Charger. This is a Dukes of Hazzard car. This car holds the record for the longest jump of any General Lee in any of the Duke television series and or movie. If you remember the freeway jump in the movie with Jessica Simpson, you'll remember this car. That's what we got going on at Graveyard Cars. You got any questions? Good. So this one was a factory Hemi Orange car, interestingly enough, but it was converted over to be one of the stunt cars in the 2005 movie. And so, you know, amazingly, when that car came down, it actually held up pretty well, and I think a lot of it has to do with the inner structure.
Yeah,
but as messed up as the car was, that's why it ended up at Graveyard Cars, because that's what we do. We restore dead cars and bring them back to life. They just haven't all been shot out of a cannon. If you recall, we had a hard time back then getting anything done in the shop. You remember why?
Yes, I do.
Besides for equipment, we had other problems staying on task. So now we're getting ready to start disassembling the 1969 Dodge Charger from the Dukes of Hazzard movie. This is the actual freeway launch car. This is a really cool, it's got a great backstory on it. Hazzard Productions had actually ordered the car to be built by a gentleman back in the Midwest. This particular car has some reinforcements in it so that it would have survived that big jump that you see at the end of the movie. We're gonna try to take those out carefully, clean them up, straighten them out, and put them back in as the car's getting restored. So right now, this is kind of a fun part. We've been looking forward to doing it for a while, and the guys are actually in a really good mood, and everybody's getting along really well right now. So looks like a new day at Graveyard Cars. Well, the thing like on that particular car, disassemblies typically are just assembly in reverse, right? I mean, they had already welded things in place, like the front bumper was welded in place. The front bumper brackets, the frame rails were welded to the brackets. I mean, it was quite a bit bigger job. So it probably was best that you and I were involved. My guess is there would have been nothing but a molten pile of orange dust with two screaming idiots in the middle of it.
Ah, stop it!
And by then they'd be dead.
Yeah, they'd be on fire.
Yeah. Let's get the rear end out of it. Let's get the seats out of it. I don't know how those seats are bolted in. Those are not the original seats. They're probably welded in. It was a bit humbling because it was a real movie car. I mean,
Oh yeah, it was a show we grew up with. It's a movie car.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to let that kind of touch you a little bit because we're just a couple guys from the neighborhood. 14th Street, he was down on 7th Street. I was between E and F, he was between D and E. Is that right?
Yep.
Yep. Couple kids from the neighborhood.
Good memory.
Living on 7-Eleven write-off food. You got to be careful when you're using a torch in tight places. That's what was happening there with the torsion bars, is you're inside of a pocket, there's no room to move around. So I'm trying to cut this thing. The oxygen and the acetylene blow up and blow back at you, and then that causes a miniature explosion. That's why I was taking these spark showers. You know, the average guy would have all this protective stuff on. I have my Bolets on just because my eyes are invaluable. They're the best set of eyes in the world when it comes to restoring cars and muscle cars. So. Oh man, everything's bent right in the way.
Oh no.
Darren, will you stop that?
Darren, what the?
No, what the is wrong with you?
Yeah, hold still. Don't.
Where do we start?
No, what is wrong with you, really? A guy's trying to take the front suspension out, and you're trying to tip the car. You know, that's... You understand that.
What'd you do with the torch earlier?
You sick?
Did anybody get hurt?
You sick? You're sick.
Oh no.
That front end coming off there was a... I think that son of a is welded in there. The front bolts, when I took the front bolts of the K-member out, I noticed it didn't drop at all. That made me suspicious. Well, it turns out on top of everything else being welded, they actually welded the K-member to the frame rails. So the most dangerous part right now will be cutting those welds loose and hopefully not dropping the engine on your hand, because you got to have it up in the air a little bit to be able to get onto it with a torch. So.
Very close.
Yep, got it.
Hold it. Can you roll that forward?
Well, what? See, Mark just wanted to ruin a car. Get away.
Watch out, man. He's a crazy man.
Well, he wanted to cut the car.
No, I was gonna cut the coupler, you idiot. They make new couplers. You're so stupid.
Let's go with a roll, right?
Iceman. I don't know. We're getting close now, though. We're just finishing on the probably 35 minutes.
I think it's loose.
Loose now.
After we got that car disassembled, I called the owner and I let him know that we were going to be in a bit of a hiatus because, as you recall, it was quite a change to graveyard cars, not just the fact that we had to move, but we had staff changes, we had equipment changes, we had employee changes, so it got put on the back burner. In the interest of saving time, we've chose to go with what you see behind me, which is what we in the business call a front clip. This is the donor front clip. If this right now, sitting the way it's sitting, we could put fenders on it, a hood on it, a front bumper, a grill, and it would look from the front like it's a complete car. But this is the inner structure, the skeleton, that we're gonna be grafting onto that car. But imagine you're gonna marry this windshield post with this windshield post, and it's gonna be seamless. Therefore, it has to be stepped out. This will be cut down to here. Then it'll have an inner structure piece that steps up to here, then another one that steps up to here. And when you're all done, you'll put an outer piece back on it, all from original Mopar sheet metal, either that pillar or this pillar, and you will have this grafted together with the front end. So where we're at right now is the body man has already started cutting and trimming the front inner structure that you see here. He'll continue to cut and trim. But you can see all of his measurements are here, all of his marks are here. These would be areas where they're making the step. So you have it going from here to here to here. He'll get this whole piece ready to go on the car. Then he'll cut the car part off, get it all cleaned up and prepped to receive this, and the two can become one. So right now, Will and George are getting ready to help me and Ryan lift the front section of our Charger off. So far, he's cut down here at the rocker on the outer portion. The inner portion of the rocker back here, because remember he has to step it. He's got one more cut on the A pillar. I'm gonna let him do that now. Then he'll cut this pillar over here and we'll be able to lift this thing off of there. So Ryan, your green light, go. Beautiful. Where do we want to go? Away There's a car behind you, Bike Courier.
Right here is fine. I'll drag it out.
Right? Crazy Bike Courier son of a... Doing a good job, Georgie. You drilled out a lot of those spot welds, right? I am going to bless the union of this original 1970 Coronet front clip onto this 1969 Dodge Charger. We have been underdogs our entire life, so we always believe in rooting for the underdog and giving somebody a chance. So like in the case of George, he had no formidable skills. He was a welder. I shouldn't say he had none. In the auto industry, he had none, but he was a great welder. And so we brought him in, and that generally, that was his proving grounds. And I worked with him, Ryan worked with him, we all worked together to make that happen. But that was my friend George's very first opportunity to do metal work on a car versus like a locomotive or something else. And he did a phenomenal job. Okay, I see you've got marks, so is this your intention of coming up through the sail panel and the upper deck filler?
Yep.
We are replacing that. So when you cut that, you're destroying that, you know that, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, all
I
right.
figured I'd leave it for now for the height-wise, because I'm gonna cut out the whole entire wheelhouse. So to keep my height, so when I put the new wheelhouse in, I'll be able to slide it out.
Yep, I see what you're doing. So where are you coming? You coming right up through here? Is that what the paint mark is?
Yep.
So we're gonna come through here like this, and then you're gonna just go to the outside of this. That'll get you your access to your spot welds, right?
Yep.
And then just blow the whole thing off of there. This particular car, as you know, had so much trauma, so much blunt force trauma to it, that literally everything throughout the car was misshapen. The pieces that we've saved well, but the ones that are sacrificial, those are the ones we're replacing. And then where you cut through the rails at?
I'm gonna come right through here.
Yep.
All the way up through here. Save
Beautiful.
all that.
Yep.
Just like a line.
Just exactly. Okay. So, and then you'll have to dissect out the rest of the trunk pan and the frame rails for that. Okay. And you know this is the part that's really important right up here. This has got your numbers in it. So we're saving and replacing this entire trunk gutter. I've got new ones, but I would rather just put this entire piece in there.
That's
do that.
not a problem.
Is that all right with you? Okay. So you're gonna mirror the same exact cuts on the other side. And the car's established at the front by the frame rails in the rack, so you shouldn't have any height problems. Nothing should move when you cut this stuff off. So basically, I've given George the green light to go ahead and cut the back half of the car off. That's what he's doing now. We got a Miller plasma cutter that makes it a real nice, clean job. The General Lee's gonna be back getting this new sheet metal before you know it. Our General Lee has already received its used donor front end. That is completed, it's done, it's welded off, it's metal finished. So from a standpoint of structurally speaking, that's done. We can now move to the back part of the car. Now, again, on this car, doing the big fly through the air and coming down, hitting that front corner the way it did, we've taken care of all the immediate damage, the initial damage that you could see visually with your eyes. You already know from the other ones you've done, we're going to do full quarters all the way up to here, all right? The remnants of the outer wheelhouses, I want you to drill out all those spot welds through this quarter inner structure, just like we're getting ready to install the new pieces on it. I want you to go around, cut, trim, clean.
I'm gonna start across this back panel here, removing this off of here, and then I'm gonna go down through here and use the plasma cutter and trim this out slowly on both sides, kind of drop this apart from it. And then I'm gonna jack it up and finish out the cut down through here, and then I'm gonna start prying this apart from this back panel to put the new frame rail sections in.
It should go pretty fast.
You're ready to weld?
I'm ready to weld.
Beautiful. Right now, he is all finished tacking everything in place. They've already pre-fit everything. So they're just gonna go through there and begin welding, plug welding all the original holes that were once spot welds. After that, when they put the new pan on, then they can go to full spot welding. So your green light go, everything fits good. Solid. Good job, great job.
Thank you.
The guys right there make it happen. Guys behind the scenes, they don't get none of the glory. On an RB engine, a 413, a 426, or a 440, they have this pad up here. So if you walk in here bright and early, all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and you look at that, you see that code right there with 440 behind it. What year is this engine?
Well, A was 65.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So B was 66.
Yes, sir.
C was 67.
Look at them go.
D was 68.
Yep.
E is 69.
Perfect. And if you look down here in this lower corner, do you see those little two letters there? What do they say?
I see an H.
There you go. And a P.
I'm assuming that's P.
Yes, it's a P. That's a high performance 69. So this one goes the Hemi Orange. A great painter, taught him everything he knows, so if you're watching.
All right, so we got our motor here for the General Lee. It is all going completely Hemi Orange. So it's all ready to go. That was good information that Mark gave us with the little numbers that are up there. All in all, that's still a couple hours worth of talking to him before I got the actual color for this. But I got it, motor's in here, everything's good to go. So I can go ahead and get the DP90 on this and then start to hit it with the single stage.
So the Street Hemi Orange that we mix up with PPG, all we do is we mix up the EV2 Tour Red Hemi Orange, exterior body color, but we leave the metallic out of it because the engine wouldn't have metallic. And so that changes the hue a little bit. It turns out a little bit reddish orange over the original one, but as soon as the engines ran for a while and it cools down, you noticed it with your turquoise one in your Poop Box 67 Coronet. As soon as it got hot and cooled down, cooled down. Sorry about the Poop Box thing, but
It's okay, I'm used to it.
yeah, it's a nice car. Once the metal work was done and the body work was done, it was able just to follow the same suit any of the restorations would, okay? So it was, once that was done, of course, we had the engine and everything painted. We were building the drivetrain over in the machine shop. It was time to start doing the jam work. When it comes to the jam work on these cars, some of them are simpler than others. It depends how much metal work. That car had a lot of metal work. So you've got gussets and reinforcements. You've got frame rails. You've got a Dutchman panel that has to be jammed on the inside, wheelhouses. All that has to have the sound deadener put on it before that goes into place, and then it gets the paint over the top.
So right now I have the General Lee all masked up. It is in the booth. The quarters are off it, so I can paint the inside of the quarters, the inner and outer wheelhouses, and underneath the package tray. We've heard Hemi Orange, Hugger Orange, Torch Red, Flame Red. Nobody actually knows what color this particular car was supposed to go. We've been trying to get in touch with the guy that actually built the car. I haven't heard back from Mark yet, so I'm gonna go check with him, see if he's heard back, and see if he has an answer on what color it's supposed to be. Hey, boss. I got the General Lee in the booth. Do we know the color yet?
Those cars were painted 1975 Corvette Flame Red.
Okay. How do you have a Hemi Orange factory Charger and say no thanks? It's a sim. They didn't paint that thing Hemi Orange. I got the underside buffed. I checked it to the color, and the color is off, so I'm gonna grab Mark, see what he thinks before we go any further.
How's it look to you?
Well, the deck lid's got metallic in it.
The deck lid's EV2.
That's what I was thinking too. So I was gonna.
So the Carz is 70, even though in the show they're 69s, they converted to 70. I talked to J.R. Burton, which was available on 69. That's why it's got the E in EV2, except in 69 it'd just be V2. And 70, they have to refer back to the original date.
So I was thinking about flipping the deck lid over.
Anyway, that's going to be the wrong call. Now, interestingly, a lot of people thought that the General Lee was EV2 Hemi Orange.
That's what I think is crazy, that they took a...
They just got lucky and had an original deck lid.
How cool would that be? Or do you think the whole car was... No, this whole entire car was this?
Who knows, right? Who could have been, but you know, panels get switched all the time. But this deck lid definitely started life on a car that was coded for V2.
So Mark came out, agreed it doesn't match the bottom. We flipped the deck lid over, buffed the top. Matches the top perfect. That's when we realized this is a true original Hemi Orange Charger, which kind of sucks because if they would have just painted Hemi Orange, this person would have a General Lee factory Hemi Orange and it would still be an orange car. So kind of sucks having to paint a Corvette red.
I was actually wrong. I was thinking that I was remembering what I read about the General Lees back in the TV days. Back when they were making the TV cars, I guess the cameras, the TV cameras, they pick things up differently. They show colors differently. And so back then, Corvette Flame Red, which was the color that they painted the TV cars, looked bright orange.
Huh, I didn't know that.
On a TV camera. But in the movie, times have changed and they use different cameras to make the motion picture. That color looked too red. It looked like it's real red. They had to paint it big bad orange to make it look like it did in the TV series when it was flame red.
Who came up with the big bad orange?
That's an AMC color.
I'm excited to paint this car, A, because it's a General Lee, B, it was actually in the movie, it was a cool launch car, and C, the body guys have been waiting for 2 weeks kind of at a standstill because I haven't been able to come up with the color yet. So there's a bunch of reasons why it's exciting to get it done, but it's very nice to have this thing painted and back to the body shop, have the quarters put on. So obviously I did the texture coating on the quarter panels already, so that way, because once the quarters are put on, you can't go past the wheel wells. So now that that's done, when you actually paint, you're actually able to get paint all the way across, where if the car's put together, you can't do it. And if you can do it, it's not gonna be that good of a job. So this way, painting those hard to reach pieces are actually fully clear coated. It's never gonna rust. It looks like the outside of the car. So when this car is assembled, if the owner ever wants to take it apart, look underneath there, the inside looks just as nice as the outside does. So it's a huge benefit doing it this way.
The General Lee was able to just follow the exact same, once the metal work was done and the body work was done, it was able just to follow the same suit any of the restorations would, okay? So it was, once that was done, of course, we had the engine and everything painted. We were building the drivetrain over in the machine shop. You just do it once.
I think that's the best part about the car, not the fuel door.
Do you remember the General Lee doing it over and over again? It's time for our owners to come out and take a look at the car. Well, hello, it's nice to meet you. Nice to see you. Yeah.
Hey, Royal.
Hey, John.
Good to see you,
How
buddy.
you doing, buddy?
It's been a long time.
Hey, John.
My man, let's go see it.
You want to go see it?
Yeah, we're ready, man.
All right.
We're ready.
There it is.
Wait.
This is perfect light. This is beautiful. Sun's
That
up.
is amazing.
Is that absolutely gorgeous?
I love that
Mark.
big bad orange.
You nailed it, man. You nailed it.
It was a.
It's unbelievable. This was the
It's
total
gorgeous.
General Lee, and it's just perfect. The color's perfect.
PPG single stage paint, acrylic urethane. There's nothing like it. It looks wet when it's dry.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, the same guys that built the roll cages for some of the movie cars and stuff came down and installed that one for us. Got the vector wheels that were actually on the car when it did the jump.
The same wheels.
Those are the wheels.
That jumped 174
They
feet.
did, and they were beat to death, and they were bent and chipped, and so we sent them out and we had them completely redone, balanced, had the new tires put on, which those are the correct ones for the
That's
movie.
amazing.
I can't believe, I mean, this car was bent up and twisted and
Oh, we had a hard
rusted.
time. If you go back and you talk to the body man about that, this thing was shoved up to here. So we had to get all the sheet metal off it and make direct pulls just down on that A-pillar to get it square again. But that's your original roof right there.
Golly, buddy, I cannot thank you enough.
Oh, I love that steering
It just
wheel.
came out
It's great.
perfect. You know, this car came out of Kansas. Originally, it was in a field in Oklahoma. We bought it off eBay. We brought it back to Denver. I called you. I think you called me back in 10 minutes when you heard I had a general lead.
Yeah. That's
Next
good
thing I
stuff.
know,
That's good TV.
we sent it up here, and here we are a couple years later,
Wow.
and it just looks amazing. You nailed it, Mark. I liked how you did the steering wheel with the actual one they used in the movie because it was different than the TV series.
Just exactly.
Just little details that they changed.
We tried to keep some old and some new, and you know, you and I talked about that at great length. What do we do? Do we restore it to the movie car? Do we restore it to the TV? And for the most part, it's movie, but there are some throwbacks to the TV in there. Certainly, this car is built out exactly like a 69 Charger RT. So, if you go over here and take a look, which you haven't even seen yet, under the hood, if this was an XS29L code, which is a 440, that is what you'd have. So just a few things to point out here, because I know you're into all kinds of cars, not necessarily diehard Mopar. So I'll point a few things out that are very, very correct about what you're looking at. So we went with an actual date-coded 69 440 Magnum, 375 horse, and it's all dressed out. Date-coded spark plug wires, date-coded PCV hose, date-coded heater hoses. This is an original 054 radiator, which would be correct for a 69 big block with a 26-inch. We had to change the core support out because it was destroyed. So when we did, we put in a 26-inch. Both aprons have been replaced and portions of the firewall. Because if you recall, this thing had that big boxed-in square channel.
The support when they did that jump.
And I wanted to try to preserve that, but when they put that in there, it never once held a complete 440 because it wouldn't have had room for it. So when I was trying to mock it in place and mock the 440 in there, it just didn't work. And so we lost that little bit of infrastructure nostalgia.
Hey, we should go take off.
You guys should hop in there and go for a ride.
Oh,
Let's go
I'm
tear
ready.
it up. Oh, I feel like Bo Duke already. Look at this baby. Yeah! It's just incredible. I feel like I'm Bo Duke.
16 and just got your driver's license. Yeah.
Absolutely. Look, they even got the horn working.
Oh, that's the best part.
Listen to it. Shift's fantastic, hard.
Well, it's smooth, too. Probably end up being one of your favorite toys.
Absolutely. We waited a long time, but it was worth the wait. It's absolutely gorgeous. She's gorgeous. She's perfect. I love it. It's fantastic.
Me or the car?
Yeah, you, sweetheart. It's perfect. I think they did a fantastic job. We really appreciate it. You guys nailed it. Graveyard Cars. I think there's a cop back there.
Let's just go for it.
Nah, no, I better pull over.
You in a heap of trouble, boy. What you out doing, running shine?